Hello, so I'm going to be going over assignment 4. So here in the beginning, so you see me introducing myself to the patient, saying, hi, my name is Josh, I'm the physical therapist that's going to be working with him, confirming that's okay, and asking him for his name and date of birth to see if I have the right patient, which I did. So letting him know the plan of care by the supervising PT that we're going to be doing some range of motion, muscle strength, and joint mobility, as well as some muscle length of his lower extremities. So I let him know this is to see that if there's any impairments or anything that's limiting his functional mobility. So letting him know that's going to be very hands-on and asking for consent. So here I had him take off his shorts to give me a better access to his lower extremities. So first I had him go supine after I got some hand sanitizer. So to begin every session, we obviously want to do some passive range of motion, around 5 to 10 reps to get that synovial fluid into the joint and lubricate it so that we are able to reach and get as much value and mobility in his legs as possible. So here we're going to be doing, I believe we did around 10 reps on this side. I'm pushing him essentially into knee flexion and knee extension, as well as some hip flexion as well. There I am checking to see if I'm filming because I was having a rough day filming. Here I am changing my arm position because the last one didn't really feel too comfortable. So this is always good, especially if it's a cold morning. We always want a good stretch to lengthen those muscles. And then since we're doing some range of motion, it's going to be essential to finding sort of that perfect end range. So at first I showed him what we were going to be doing. So in this case, we're going to be measuring knee flexion. My landmarks are going to be the midline of the femur for my fulcrum. The stationary is going to be same thing, midline of the femur toward the greater trochanter, and the movement arm is the fibula towards the lateral malleolus. And what I had him do, since we're doing it active, I wanted him to flex his knee as much as possible without touching the table. So there I was able to get 138, the active range. And for his passive range of motion, I was able to get 145, which is within normal limits. Well, it's actually beyond normal limits. The normal range is 0 to 135 according to our book. So now we're going to be testing some muscle lengthening of his gastrocnemius. In this case, we did it supine, and my landmarks are going to be distal to the malleolus for my fulcrum. My stationary is going to be the midline of the fibula, and the movement arm is going to be in line with his fifth metatarsal. In this case, since we're doing some muscle lengthening, we want to measure both sides. So I started with the left side first, and we wanted to go into dorsiflexion. When we started, he was at 60 degrees, and we were able to get 19 degrees of dorsiflexion. So there I am pushing it passively. And there I am letting him know what we got. Now I'm going to move on to the other side. This side was the same thing. So he started in about 60 degrees of plantar flexion already. And we were able to get that 19 degrees as well. So his gastrocs were pretty even muscle length wise. I struggled a little bit on this side. Then after this, we'll go into some muscle testing. So there I was letting him know that he was pretty even when we were to go into dorsiflexion, but I did let him know he was a little tight, so we need to work on some of that stretching. So now, actually, we went into a special test. So my special test that I chose was the Thompson test. This is to determine whether or not he has a ruptured Achilles. So what we want to do is squeeze the muscle belly of the gastrocnemius and the soleus. And what we want to see is the foot plantar flex. So there I am pointing. I have him scoot back a little bit. So we're going to squeeze that muscle belly and we want to see that foot move. There you can see it move slightly. And I went ahead and moved on to the other side if there was anything wrong with that side. And you could see it sort of twitch, and then as I moved down it was able to plantar flex a little bit more. So that would give me a negative test. If it were positive, you wouldn't see that plantar flexion movement at all. So now I went ahead and had him seated. Now we're going to be doing some muscle testing. So first, obviously, we got to change the angle. There we go. So first, I believe we did for the quadriceps. So here I had him seated, showed him the movement. I wanted him to extend his knee. That's giving me my 3. And then we want to put our hand behind the knee and apply some pressure into flexion. And doing that, I was able to get a 5 out of 5 in his score. So perfect there. So now we're going to be doing the hamstrings, the gross muscle testing for knee flexion. I had him come forward a little bit because I didn't want his knees touching the back of the table, and I wanted him to flex his knee as much as he can. So doing that motion gave me a 3 once again. Then had him slightly do it, and then I wanted to pull into extension this time. So here he kind of broke at like moderate, so I'll give him a 4 out of 5. So next we went into tibialis anterior. So for that movement, I had him dorsiflex and invert his foot. And then that gave me my 3. So there he is doing it again. And then stabilizing at the quad, and then I'm pushing him into plantar flexion and eversion. So that gave me a 5 out of 5. And that was that. Said my goodbyes to the patient, and I'll see him next visit. Okay, now so I'm going to be going over my gait pattern. So what I noticed is that without the shoes, I have this kind of like foot slap in my feet, as well as this inward rotation or pronation, causing sort of that flat foot. And then in my knees, I notice I don't get a lot of range of motion, and my step length, so going forward, is honestly very minimal. So my acceleration phase looks like it's very slow. Maybe I was just concentrating too much. And then in my hip, I have sort of this sway, maybe sort of like this mini Trendelenburg kind of motion. With shoes, it honestly doesn't look too much different. So in my sort of acceleration phase, you kind of see my tibias rotate outwards and then come back in. And with the shoes on, the knee valgus isn't as like noticeable than without the shoes. And then with shoes, I have more of like a heel strike. But yeah, honestly, it's pretty much the same. My width between my feet do get like a little bit wider, but my step length is honestly pretty similar. So with shoes, honestly, minor difference from what I'm noticing. And then my arm, it doesn't really sway too much, at least in these videos. Maybe because I was just subconsciously trying my best to just walk naturally, and then just my arms didn't move at all.